Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to Herrmann
and Adam,
your construction tech guys, brought to you by SiteTech Northeast. This is our Trimble ConExpo update series. In this episode, we're covering Siteworks site positioning. I'm going to turn over to Adam. So Adam, you want to take it away?
You got it. Thanks, Herman. All excellent things in the machine control and guidance things. I was very excited when we saw all of them, and also a whole bunch of things in the site positioning systems as well. Trimble did have a pretty broad list of items that they brought out to bear here at ConExpo, and it was pretty exciting to see it. So in here, one thing that we want to talk about initially is Centerpoint RTX. The slide can be a little misleading. The Centerpoint RTX with tilt compensation is the new feature here. So Centerpoint is a correction method coming from a satellite. It also could run over internet if you had some reason to want to do that, but it is a satellite-based correction, so we're taking that local base station out of the equation. It opens up very, very long job sites or large sites, and it really is a game changer in things that you would normally consider a real pain in the butt to set up a local base station. It does not replace them, but it certainly has points if we're doing things like silt fence layout or limit of disturbances, things like that. The accuracies here are 2 centimeters horizontally and 5 centimeters vertically. So pretty darn good for a satellite-based correction. There is a free trial that we can get from Trimble to try this on a 986 receiver. And then the big push is that it is now able to work with Trimble's tilt compensation, which has been quite a game changer really in our world. Tilt compensation has taken over quite a bit. And we do have a video here just to give you, the video is specifically on the tilt compensation. So Herman, I think we've got that set up.
We do. One of the things to remember about this Centerpoint is it's not meant to replace your base station. It's another tool in your toolbox to do things when, as Adam said, you need to go out and do silt fence layout on a job where you don't have control set up there yet, but you want to get the guys working, doing some stripping and clearing. Perhaps you're bidding a job and you want to verify the quantities because something looks a little sketchy to you. You can go out and just turn on your rover. Once it initializes, it gets its base corrections, and you're getting that 5 centimeter vertical accuracy with no other infrastructure on your site. It's pretty important. A lot of places this can be used, but again, it's not meant to replace a base for doing the actual job, but it gives you a lot more versatility out of your receiver. So here's that video that Adam was talking about.
Yeah. Go to work.
Who's that?
That's Phil. Best surveyor we got. He uses Trimble Siteworks with tilt compensation.
No job too big, no job too small. Gotta do it all. Working hard all day and night. And the vision, always in sight. Heavy machinery, that's my scenery. Dozers, graders, the best kind of greenery. Think of ways that we can do better. Never ever tremble underneath that pressure.
That's impressive. Phil's not too bad either.
One thing for sure, 2 things for certain. You're gonna always catch me working.
So just a pretty quick, funny reality of what the future of surveying is. Most people are not going to dance, though. I can be available for lessons if need be. Kind of a
You get free lessons by tilt compensation. Adam will come do free dance lessons on your site for you.
Absolutely.
So, the important thing there is, we do this high accuracy GPS, and we're still relying on a guy to look at a level bubble and make sure that that is level and that bubble has been calibrated to take an accurate measurement. This takes all that away. They basically hold the bubble in a close proximity to level and shoot the point, and the inertial sensors inside of that head are correcting for the error. It
there
really
are also affected by magnets, Herman, which is one of the differences in our site positioning or in our tilt compensation. And there's no angle at which they don't work. The limitation is not the angle, but the amount of satellites that it's actually getting.
Right. Some of the competitive systems that may have been around for a little while that they brag about don't work near large metal objects. And, there's no large metal objects on a construction site, no excavators or dozers or anything around. So
shouldn't be a problem at all.
No, not a problem at
all. Okay, so moving to the next, here's big things. SPS software in our Siteworks here. Again, just to expand on what Herrmann was talking about, that VCL file format is designed to be the one file format that we can move from machine to rover to site vision to whatever basically interface that we're trying to work with. And it's really a big deal. And there's a ton of advantages to it, being that we can have all of our surfaces as well as multiple road alignments. We can take all of our layers on and off. So each individual user and or operator can have all of the information available to them and integrate their screen on what they are working on in that particular day. You may have multiple rover users on a job site, and they want to look at different things because they're doing different things. And the fact that we can put all of the information in there and then let the user determine what line work, what layers, what surfaces, and different things that they want to see and use is really a very, very nice feature. And again, the fact that it is the same file that we're going to put on Earthworks, our machine control systems, is pretty excellent. So a couple of caveats to the VCLs right now is if you have avoidance zones, certainly wetlands are big deals, areas that we want to put in as avoidance zones, and background maps are supported in 1.2 of Siteworks, but they are different file types. So your background map is still going to be a JPEG, and your avoidance zone is still going to be a DXF. It will, it will support them, but the VCL file is essentially everything besides those. Your points, your background maps, and your avoidance zones are things that you'll load in separately in that files. But really a big deal. Very easy to use, gives you a lot of ability and flexibility, because as we know, things change pretty rapidly out there in the field, and I'm really excited about the VCL files. The next big thing that came out in version 1.2 of Siteworks is PDF reports. So I downloaded 1.2 and put it on my data collector, and have been out into the field playing with these PDF reports for quite a bit. And I will tell you, I was impressed in how easy they are to use and the abilities. As I've talked to people about them, everybody gives me a new idea in how to use this. So pretty big, I would say, advantage for us. So some of the thoughts that came to mind were, if I were measuring control points for a night paving, perhaps I'm putting in new control for a user to be able to do some night work, or I'm putting control in for things that are coming in the future. I can now measure the control point as I would normally, and then add a PDF report onto that point, which gives me all of the point data that I've measured, plus the ability to add up to 3 photos. So all of the data collectors have built-in cameras, so we can attach photos. Maybe it's different angles of where that point is, or it could be a file that you have loaded on your collector to put on something else, which may have some varying effects on the information itself. But anybody can open PDFs generally in any Android or iOS or Windows platforms. Very easy to email that information to other people communicating. Just a really, really nice feature. Any COGO calculations that we do, whether it be distance bearings and lines or volume calculations, are pretty huge, can also be created as PDF reports and sent directly to engineers as things change, or whatever that case might be. If we found something in the ground that everybody swore was not there, we could measure it, take a picture with our data collector, with the point of our 2-meter rod on the actual item that we're measuring. So there's an as-built so that we can proceed and either continue on our work or make changes as necessary. And again, just a really nice, clean way to send that information to somebody. Good, clean, easy to use. I was really, really impressed with it. Some user interface updates that we have. So getting into Kogo, if we look at the top right picture on our screen here, we can see we have now side-by-side Kogo functionality. So the map is on the side, and all of the information that we would put in there are on the right side of the screen. So just ease of use, really nice. It cleans it up. Another feature, map toolbars. Instead of being down here on the bottom right side of this picture here, they've moved them over to our point measuring and that sort of stuff, FXL files. If we're doing that in our measuring is all on the left side. Just a neat, clean, easy way to organize the screens. Again, we have tilt compensation with RTK and RTX over the internet. So this could be a situation where the state might require a cores correction or an internet correction. We can work with that as well. Tons of other features and enhancements. These are the high level things, but quite a bit in there for one release of Siteworks. So new hardware. We are now looking at the Site Mobile replacement. It is a 6-inch screen. How about a big change here? If we'll notice, is this Android 8 operating system. That is a first in Siteworks, being able to run that Android operating system for us. 1.2 has been specifically optimized for this smaller 6-inch screen size. So a limitation is Windows would not run on anything smaller than a 7-inch screen. So this 1.2 is now optimized to run on that shorter or smaller screen, though it is uncanny how close it is in size to the TSC7 and the T7 screens. It is very, very close. We actually measured it out there and was quite a nice lightweight alternative for somebody who's looking to have something easier to move around. Another big advantage here is battery life optimized to run all day. This is a product that's been around with Trimble for a while and is brought into the construction aspect here, and battery life has been something touted on this unit for quite a while. Definitely a good gig here. It is actually a phone. You could add a SIM card to it if need be. I'm not sure that's going to be the next. I'm not sure it's going to put Apple out of business, certainly, but it is something that gives you the ability to put a SIM card in and use it in that respect. Very lightweight. One thing to note is it is not supporting total stations yet. Android platform does not have the communication ability with the 2.4 gigahertz of a total station, so it is not there yet. It is coming. I wouldn't look for it right around the corner. It's going to be in the future sometime, and who knows with the COVID interruption what gets pushed back on that. But it is not there yet, so it is a GP or GNSS solution right now, and we're thinking late 2020 for availability on this one. So it is coming. It is a nice new addition. It's got a nice price point on it. It is what we would call our entry level into
Adam,
SPS.
as we were talking before, Trimble listening, that TDC 600 is a replacement for the Site Mobile that some guys out there may have had. The two biggest complaints that we received on a Site Mobile were the battery life, and it would not work in landscape orientation, which is how most people want to view Siteworks. So as you see, the battery life has been optimized to make it run all day. And in this picture, it works in landscape mode. So they did listen, and they did make it better for the guys that are using it every day.
It is landscape only, Herman. That's a really good point, which is just Siteworks is designed to be run in the landscape mode. It does not have portrait, but this is how everybody wanted to use it. And all the feedback was this was the preferred method, so it is there. But that's a really good point, Herman. Another addition to the collector family is we now have a Panasonic Toughpad. It does have that 7-inch screen. It is a Windows 10 operating system. Again, very similar to the T7, but it is a lower cost, lighter weight option. Does have, again, battery life optimized to run all day in this as well. And it does not support a total station. I should say it does not support the Empower module for total station yet. We can connect through Bluetooth or a direct cable to the total station, but it is something that will be shortly. It'll be available pretty shortly. That's on the list certainly for this collector. And again, available late 2020 is what we're looking for, but a very lightweight, good addition, kind of coming in the lower price point than a T7, kind of the middle of the family, we'll call it, but a tried and true unit, and pretty excited about this addition as well.
One of the things they showed us out there with this was actually using a shorter pole. Because we have the ProPoint now, we're seeing so many satellites getting so much better positioning. We don't need that receiver up above your head anymore. So we're using a pole that was about 5 feet with this Toughpad mounted on it and tilt compensation on the 986. And you could one hand take points. You could just swing the pole out and bump the button to shoot a point. You didn't have to have it plumb. The whole setup was shorter, lighter, and much more maneuverable. If I were a person that was walking around all day shooting points, it's definitely the setup I would want to have.
Yeah, this is a big deal, Herman. That's a good point. We tend not to think if it's a little bit heavier, it's not that big of a deal. But when this is your office all day, it is little improvements like this make a big difference.
Thank you for tuning in to Herrmann
and Adam,
your construction tech guys from SiteTech Northeast.
Please take a minute to provide us feedback and comments on topics you would like to have us cover by emailing us at hermanandadam@sitetechnortheast.com, all lowercase and all spelled out. Remember to watch the other 3 videos in this series.
SiteTech Northeast.